Kristen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I am really looking forward to our chat today because I'm so fascinated with everything that you do. So, before we kind of jump in, can you just tell everyone about who you are and how you became a medical intuitive and spiritual mentor?
Yeah. So I'm Kristen. This kind of all happened because of my own health challenges and things that I went through. Also, having children that were diagnosed with chronic illnesses at young ages. And it was just kind of like my family was just kind of riddled with things like this. And I used to always say things like, man, I wish I could just see what was going on in our bodies without having to go to the doctor and da da da. Well, it's because I could.
Yeah.
So like a lot of my clients call me the human MRI. Like I can see what's going on in somebody's physical and emotional body and kind of get to the root of where that originated. And then through that I can find the root of like any physical, emotional illness, imbalance, disease, because every physical illness has an emotional component and vice versa. Sometimes, that emotion gets trapped in our body and then it can manifest into physical illness. So when you can get to both the root of the physical and emotional, that's where I feel true healing can happen,
Mhm.
because you're finding both.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, I just work with people, mentor them, whether it's, I mean, you gotta tackle all of it, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, because it's all connected. And so that's kind of where my holistic comes in, is like treating a person as a whole, because we're a whole being and everything's interconnected. And so in order to heal, I feel like you can't just focus on one thing and not the rest. So
Yeah, that's so true. The holistic approach is where it's at. And I think with you, what I found quite fascinating when I was doing all my research, because I got deep diving into your Instagram, I was like, I went on like a path. I was like, oh my God, look at all this stuff and look at your story. And it's so fascinating that you were given a death sentence and now you're helping others heal. Are you comfortable
yeah,
sharing with us that story of what happened to you and how you got to this place from being told that?
yeah. So I haven't had just one. I've had multiple times that I almost lost my life due to illness or, chronic things. And I feel like I kind of got stuck in the sick care instead of the health care. They were just throwing medications at me. And, I never truly realized what it meant to heal or to deal with the trauma that was associated with my physical things. I had a really rough childhood, and so a lot of that manifested into physical illness. And because I never really dealt with the trauma, and then when I started to deal with the trauma, I didn't deal with the physical. So I was kind of like, I was, and then I was kind of forced into dealing with the physical. Sorry, I'm kind of going off, but there was multiple times I've had cervical cancer. I was diagnosed with Addison's disease, which my adrenals completely shut down, and I was bedridden. My husband carried me into the hospital and was like, okay, she's been dealing with this for years. She can't even walk across like the room without passing out. She's living on the toilet. Something's wrong. So he carried me into the hospital and like 6 years prior, I had had cervical cancer, went through that, got better. Then Addison's came. The doctors didn't know what was going on. It's really rare. But because I lived in a constant state of fight or flight, my adrenal glands completely shut down. Not only that, environmental toxins, all of the toxins loaded in my body, all the stress that I was going on through having kids with chronic illness. It just it played a toll on me. And I was laid in the hospital bed for 3 days with nobody being able to figure out what was going on with me. My body was shutting down. Um, like my heart rate was through the roof, my blood pressure was done. I couldn't secrete urine. They were pumping me full of fluids and I was just puffing up and I couldn't my kidneys were failing, my heart was failing, everything was failing. And then they finally came through with a diagnosis, put me on steroids, told me I was going to be on these the rest of my life, and that my quality of life was pretty much gone. And they pretty much told me, you get this illness, it's going to kill you, stress will kill you. Pretty much everything the doctors told me was that I was going to die. And I was like, oh. And so I feel like it, once you're told that, you can accept it or not. And I feel like honestly in my position, I don't think doctors should diagnose you or give you a prognosis or you're going to live 3 months, because people either go, okay, I'm going to live 3 months, they live 3 months and they die, or they say, F that. I choose that, and then they do something different and go on to live for years. And that was kind of me in the beginning. I got really scared. I kind of stayed stuck a lot in that mentality of like, oh, my life's over. And then finally I was like, no, I don't accept that. And so I started to do things different, started to dive in and started to look for other routes. Um, and started to look at trauma and all these different things. And that's when I heard a lady talking about medical intuition, and I started going through her course, and I was like, oh my God, this is my thing. Like, this is where it's at. And so as I started like learning from her and going through the course, I just felt like I was coming home to myself. I was just like, it felt right. Everything was happening. Like I was able to do this. I was able to see things for people, and it just started to feel right. And so I started to go through that. Then I started to offer all these things. I started to do the physical, healing and working through my trauma. And I started to feel quite a bit better. But then I realized I was like still stuck in that like over giving, like never taking care of myself, um, always giving to everybody but me. And it landed me back in a position of I was forced to take care of myself. So 2 years ago on New Year's morning, I woke up and was rushed to the hospital by ambulance. My my bowel had ruptured in three places and I went septic. And I, on top of having Addison's because your body can't handle stress or illness or all of these sort of things. So, anyways, I laid in the hospital bed for 17 days while they were trying to get my body to repair itself, living off of IVs and PICC lines. I was literally like laying there fighting for my life. And they finally decided that my bowel ruptured one more time and they were like, okay, like we need to do emergency surgery or you're gonna die. And I was like, okay. So they took me in for emergency surgery, removed part of my colon. I ended up with an ostomy bag on the outside of my stomach where my small intestine was sticking out of my stomach. That's how I was going to the bathroom, and that got really bad. um, I I was losing everything I was putting in my body and I was getting completely malnourished. So I laid in bed for 6 months on IVs. Home health was coming in, taking care of me, all of these things. Then finally my doctor was like, okay, we need to get you put back together so that you can start living again. So he took me and put me back together, and slowly I started to recover, regain my strength. And that's when I was like, okay, like I really need to take my health like serious, because I had been taking my health serious, but not to the point I needed to. You know what I mean? It was like the excuses of like, yeah, I'm doing this, but and I kept just disregarding the true things and this like the symptoms that were being shown to me. I just kind of bypassed them as, oh, it's just normal. The doctors, you go to the doctor and they're just like, oh, that's just because you're getting older. Oh, that's because you had a hysterectomy and you had cancer and you had this. And, so it was all these symptoms in my body trying to talk to me, which I knew about this kind of stuff because it's what I did, but I wasn't doing it with me fully. You know what I mean? It was easier to like help somebody else than to help myself. And that's when I finally was forced to start helping myself. And my health and my life has made like a complete 360. I have energy that I've never had. I'm doing things I never did. Yeah, it's just completely changed because I finally started taking care of me, and yeah.
Yeah. I love that there's so many things in that story where people would be like, "Oh my God, this is the end. I'm dying. I'm stuffed. Like I'm not going to come back from this." And the fact that mentally you could put yourself in a space where you're like, "No, this is not it for me. I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to become the best version of myself." Like that takes courage and bravery. So well done for even
Thank you.
doing that and turning that around. Because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, okay, this is it. Let me die," kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't have that sparkle that I feel like that you have. And I feel like obviously through what you've been through, that moment where you realize that healing was so much deeper than just what the medical system was offering. And I think that that's
hmm
what people don't understand. They go, "Oh, well, the doctors are stumped. Like, they don't know what to do with me. I'm in chronic pain. I guess I just have to keep taking these pills." Like, what do you say to people who are literally in that situation right now?
that's when there's another way. You fire your doctor and you look for another way, because honestly, I stayed in that for so many years, and it's just heartbreaking to me to see how many people really are living in that right now when you can get to the root of it. You know what I mean? There is a way out. Like you don't have to be stuck. And literally, I had one of the rarest diseases that was like a life sentence. I've been through cancer, but cancer was in my mind like okay, I'm not even gonna go there. But anyways, I just feel like getting to the root of it, knowing that your body is talking to you, showing you symptoms, and that there's something you can do to it rather than just put a band-aid on it and mask it, like get deep down and like you can turn your life around.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to that, like, you've obviously worked with so many people with so many different conditions and spots in their life. And do you have like an example of someone that perhaps had a particular symptom or condition and what it actually was that was going on underneath the surface that you were able to shift to help them get out of that energy?
Yeah. I have a lot actually, and it's so exciting to me to see these things happen. But one lady came to me, and so I just go in blind. I don't like to do intake for anything. I just like to go in blind and let it just happen because I don't want to be skewed in any way, you know. And so I just started doing my thing and was looking at it, and I was just like, oh, I see something. Like I was talking about her heart, and I was like, I just see like a sack of fluid around your heart, and I'm seeing that, um, it's creating a lot of issues. And we kind of went into it, and she's like, oh yeah, the antacid or whatever. And she's like, but it's helping. And she's like, I can't
Oh
sleep at
no.
night because I'm pain and all this kind of stuff. It wouldn't be helping.
Oh no, you're breaking up. I'm like, oh no, it's like bits and pieces like I'm hearing.
Uh-oh.
But I think I can hear you now. Can you just start from the bit again where you said that
Okay.
you like to go in blind and then yada yada. Go from there.
Okay. Yeah. I hope it's working now. So, yeah, I just like to go in blind so that I'm not skewed in any way, so that I can see what's actually going on. And I
Mhm.
had a lady that came to me, and I was looking at her, and I was like, I can just see like a sack of fluid around your heart, and I'm like, I'm seeing it's creating a lot of pain and issues. And she's like, oh yeah, the doctors had me on antacids. They said I had GERD. And I was like, and she's like, but it's not helping. She's like, I'm still staying awake at night and having all these issues. And I was like, yeah, because you don't have GERD. Like what I'm seeing is an infection, but I was also seeing like parasitic infection. But I don't really say those words exactly because I like to kind of buffer things and just kind of, I don't want to scare anybody, but I also don't want to diagnose anything. So I'm just like, I really feel like you should. And then when I'm doing my sessions, I get recommendations as far as like where to send them, who to have them go to, whether it's functional medicine or, there are still good in the medical world and they saved my life. So it's like, I work with all of it and whatever comes through, recommendations for them, I do. And so anyways, it recommended she see a cardiologist and, have an ultrasound done and have this looked at. And anyway, as I'm telling her this, she's like, you know what, this is so weird, but I actually had a condition and I can't remember what she said it was called because I didn't know what it was called. And she's like, they treated me with antibiotics and then, sent me on my way and said I'd be good. And she's like, but now that you're saying this, she's like, it's exactly the same feeling I had then. And she's like, and what you're telling me is exactly what the cardiologist saw then. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think antibiotics is the answer. Like, I feel like you need to remove toxins. Anyways, we got into the emotional aspect of it, where it came from childhood, and then she was able to address the childhood thing, going on and where it came from and the thought process that she kind of got stuck in and where that trauma was recreating in her body. So I'm sure you're aware, like trauma is usually so our body is responding to something that happened in the past. So when we have a traumatic event, it creates cell memory. Then something else mimics that trauma in our present life. And our subconscious is responding, trying to keep us alive to what happened then. So it's not even typically what's happening now. We're responding to what happened then. So um, those situations continue to be recreated keep us responding to those traumatic events. Our subconscious is trying to keep us alive and keep us safe. So helping us act this way when really, like, if we can get to the root of it, find out where that came from, so I can look at it and see like, oh, this happened when you were 5, I see this happening, and I can kind of go back and see things that happen and help them to be able to say like, this happened, this is kind of the belief system that you created around this and while it's continuing to play out in your life. And so we can address that, and then I can go help them to be able to heal the emotional aspect of it, to be able to shift and release that and to move forward. Anyways, so she went to the doctor, found out that's exactly what it was. So we were able to get her on a protocol to heal, to actually remove parasites from her body, that sort of thing. And I think it's been about 3 years ago, and she's had nothing back. Um, so yeah, she was able to clear that and move forward. I've had a
Wow.
bunch of different things like that have happened, and the doctors tell them one thing and then it's completely opposite, and I guide them to the right person to have it looked at. So
Oi, it's Jade. My mum thinks I'm cool. Do you know what else my mum thinks is cool? Our Lime Glow products. Be cool. Get some Lime Glow.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. And I think what's really special about what you do is it actually is a holistic energy. It's like it's not just focusing on the woo woo and the spiritual and the trauma and all that kind of stuff. It's actually going, okay, well, there is a physical problem here. And yes, we can clear it out and all of that, but there may be some of the physical stuff that's built up that you need to clear out through medicine or, supplements or whatever it might be. So I like the fact that you have that holistic energy. And when you're talking about creating cell memory, like your body holds on to trauma and it creates that memory. Can you explain to people like what that actually means and how
yeah.
you can even notice it within yourself, like what you're
Mhm.
hanging on to or what your body is doing because of what you've been through?
Yeah. So I mean, everything in our body is connected. All of our organs are living beings. They have functions, they have memories, and they all have cells, and we have cells throughout our whole entire body, and everything plays a function. So when you have a traumatic event, your body responds to it. And when your body responds, your cells react in a way to what is happening, and it creates a cell memory. And so our bodies, as we go through things and those symptoms or whatever happen, so like you get a physical sensation or a physical symptom, a lot of times people kind of have become disconnected or disassociated from their feelings because of traumatic events or because it's too much to feel. And so a lot of times it's kind of scary for people to feel feelings, so they start to dismiss things. But your body is still trying to get your attention, and if it can't get your attention, it has to get stronger and louder and stronger and louder, so the symptoms become more severe. So whatever's happening, your cells are responding to that. But if you're not listening, then it has to get louder and bigger. You know what I mean? So the symptoms become stronger and stronger. So
Mhm.
our bodies are just trying to communicate with us. So being able to reconnect with your feelings and emotions and your body is like one of the, and creating safety and trust within your body, because a lot of times we start to lose that if you've dealt with chronic pain and stuff like that. So um, being able to reconnect to your body and allowing that to not be like a bad thing or a fear, just allowing yourself to feel whatever is coming up is actually one of the best ways to start healing those memories. Because it's kind of hard to explain, but your cells are trying to communicate with you. So it's like a cell memory. You might be walking down the street and you're passing by somewhere that has like a resemblance of something that happened when you were a child, and you start to get this feeling. That's your body like having a cell memory, a response to something that happened in the back. Does that make sense? Did I explain that okay?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's like to I like to say like your body tells the story and sometimes your body's reacting even when you're not. So you're like, "Oh yeah," you walk past someone and you're like, "Ugh, like what is that kind of feeling?" And you're like, "I don't even know why I'm feeling like this, and I don't even know this person or whatever, but it's because their energy matches someone's energy in the past that perhaps wasn't a very nice person to you or something like that." So I feel like your
Mm-hmm.
body, it tells the story. You just have to listen to it. And I think that that's what we forget.
100%.
We don't listen. We just continue on. And I think
Mm-hmm.
too, like a lot of the time we hear all these people go, oh yeah, you can just heal by doing this and doing some, rituals and practices and like visualization and all this kind of stuff. But I really want to hear from you, like, what are your like go-to practices or like modalities that you give people or that you use yourself personally to shift trauma on physical and energetic levels? Like, what practices do you give the people that you work with? Are there any that like just come to mind?
Yeah, a lot. It depends on I feel like everybody's so individual and our stories are so unique that everybody's different. And so it's like that's why I like my intuitive sessions because I feel like they give recommendations of what's best for each person and I kind of go off of that, but it just depends like whether it's I feel like moving the energy is the most important thing. And that could be tapping, breath work, different somatic exercises to actually get in the body, move the energy, and then release it. I also do a lot of visualization to go to where it originated from, find it, and name it, all of that kind of stuff, so that you can actually release it, and then we can replace it with something that feels better. So yeah, just different things like that. But I also feel
Yeah.
like at the same time dealing with the physical on top of that because a lot of times so like our liver might be holding on to anger and but it's also kind of sluggish and backed up because of environmental toxins stuff in our food, our air, our water, our environment, whether it's mold or parasites. I mean, there's so much out there that can be bogging down our physical body, but then comes that emotional aspect of like you got to get that anger out of there. People are like, oh, I'm not angry, I don't feel angry. I'm like, no. Like it's because you just don't feel it or you don't allow yourself, but you're holding on to that. And so that's why your liver is sluggish or backed up or you're having these things. It's because it's like all that rage is pent up in there. So it's like really allowing yourself to feel the rage and move through that on top of maybe physically detoxing your liver at the same time.
Yeah, I like that to have like the both angles too
Mhm.
of like let's physically be doing something with your supplements or whatever it might be, but also give
Mhm.
yourself an outlet. I think that's what we forget too. And even I'm guilty of it. Like, back in the day, I danced like, 5, 6 times a week when I was younger. And that was like my outlet. Like, I had somewhere to go to, like, if I was angry, I'd dance harder, or I'd work harder, or whatever. And now I look at myself and I'm going, oh, I'm like, what's my outlet? Like I don't really have a
Mhm.
lot right now and I'm like to like let go of like all the things that are like residual energy from conversations or from readings or
Mhm.
whatever. And so one of the things I've
Yeah.
tried to implement is my sauna. That's why I got it because
Oh.
I'm like, when I'm
Mhm.
in there, I'm not distracted. I don't have my phone. I'm just like in my own energy, like releasing, detoxifying physically and mentally, emotionally, all that kind of stuff. So it's finding what
I love
works for
that.
you. Doesn't even have to be that
Mhm.
I'm trying to release trauma or anything in that moment, but it's everything that's not serving me. I feel like mentally, when I'm in there, I'm like, oh, this is doing all the things I need it to do. And I'm going to allow myself to let go in this moment.
Mhm.
It's
I
just
agree.
finding
And
what
I
works for
also
you.
and I feel like also just having that mindset because I feel like mindset is one of the biggest keys too. Trusting, believing, and allowing, surrendering. So I feel like if we trust and believe and surrender to the process and know that it's doing what we need it to do for us, we're allowing it to work. I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest keys because if we're doing all these things but we're in the back of our mind thinking this is bogus, this is bullshit, this is just woo woo, you know what I mean, it's not going to work. I feel like it's
Mhm.
not going to work. Not only
Yeah.
that, our subconscious is telling us it's not going to work because it's trying to keep us safe, and so it's like, oh, you know what I mean. So we have like I feel like mindset and really shifting the way you're thinking about things is one of the biggest keys to healing because if you go do all these things but you don't truly believe it's going to work, then
Mhm.
it's probably not going to.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny too because I was just reading for someone just literally before I was on the call with you, and she's on a really massive healing journey. She's on a weight loss journey. She's wanting to really be a different version of herself. And Spirit were coming through and they were saying things like, you have to make it fun. Like, if you're not somebody that likes to go for walks and likes to, have your supplements and your protein or whatever, you got to find a way that it is fun for you to do that stuff so that you actually continue to do it and want to do it. And even with me, like, I got a blood test done and I got my results back, and my doctor's like, Jess, you're a little bit like low in protein. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I just really struggle to like have my protein shake and all that kind of shit. But I got my wife Jade to get me a pink protein powder. So now my protein is
Yeah.
pink. So I'm like, this is fun. I'm like, I've got this pink protein
Right?
powder and it's doing all the things it's supposed to do, but it's not hard for me now because I'm like, oh, I get to have my pink drink today. It's like finding the little
Yeah.
things that make you happy in the things you have to do to make yourself feel well. So sometimes it's just about being a bit creative in
Yeah.
doing the things you need to do in a way that feels right for you.
hmm I agree. I was gonna say, I noticed before I got sick when I was doing my readings that became it wasn't fun anymore. You know what I mean? It was too, because medical can be very deep, very daunting sometimes, and it's a heavy subject because I mean that's their life, their
Yeah.
livelihood. If you don't have your health, you don't. And so it got to be to the point where I was like almost kind of dreading them because I was like, oh, this is heavy. Like,
Mm.
but then I started to realize, and it was the same sort of thing. It was like, you need to release the pressure. You need to take the pressure off and just know you're here to guide them, to help them, to give them what they're meant to hear, and that like um what they do with that is up to them. And I feel like once I took the pressure off, and stopped feeling the responsibility that it was my responsibility to help everybody, I was like handing it back to them, like, this is your life, like you have the decision to make. And I started making things fun again, and started, yeah, like you're saying, like I was like, and so I created a tree of life reading, and it's like I go in and look at people's energy, and I look at each part of the tree as something different just for fun.
Yeah.
And I started doing them just really cheap. I'm like, let's just do a $25 tree of life reading just to go in and have fun. And I did so many of them, and it brought my spark and my joy back because I was like, this is fun again. You know what I mean? And so, and now it's like it shifted the way I do medical readings too, because now I don't do it from, I think the way I was taught to made it be heavy and like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to make it my own, and I had to bring my own spunk and fun into it and lightness. And it totally changed how I do readings, and it feels so much better. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny too, sometimes giving yourself an energetic break actually helps you to do that again. Like, I was feeling that burnout even like 2 weeks ago. I was like, my God, I'm so burnt out. Like, I love doing readings, but I feel like I'm like, and another one, and another one, and another one. And I'm like, oh, I just cannot be in this energy of not being fully excited about what I'm doing. So I ended up canning a whole week of readings. I was meant to have a week off and it just didn't feel like enough. I'm like, I haven't even calmed down. Like, I'm still in like hustle energy. So I canned a whole week. And thank you to my clients that moved, by the way. You're amazing. But I needed that break, and I came back
Yeah.
yesterday and I'm so inspired and I'm going deeper and I'm having fun with my readings and I'm just feeling like me again. So sometimes
Yeah.
you actually need a second to reset, to stop, to see things from a different point of view as well, to get your sparkle
hmm
back. So don't be
Yeah,
afraid
I agree.
sometimes to like can it. Even it was weird because I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw some like I follow all the drag queens. Like, I love RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, I'm obsessed with that shit. And Sasha Colby was like, I've just canned my last 9 shows because I am done. Like, I cannot keep going. I've done so many. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everyone, but I can't keep going. I feel like I'm burning out. And I'm like, how brave of people to just call it. Like, call time of death
hmm
on things, being like, okay, we need to stop this now because I am not in a good place and I can't deliver what I want to deliver. So there's a lot of people out there, famous or not, who are putting themselves first and are getting in the driver's seat of their life and making shit happen for themselves. So that's just a reminder to people. If enough is enough, then enough is enough. You have to sometimes call it and do what's best for you and then come back even brighter.
Exactly. And do it before you have to get knocked into a hospital bed, okay?
Yeah.
Shout it to the rooftops. Like, I didn't listen. Just saying you don't want to go through that, like to get knocked on your ass and have to be like, girl, take a break. Just
No.
take a break.
And that was
It's
me
all
too.
gonna
I
be
always,
there.
yes, and I always waited till I was sick. I always wait
Yeah.
till I'm sick to stop. And my kinesiologist said to me, she actually helped me to make that decision. She goes, Jess, when do you stop? And I said, oh, when I'm sick. And sometimes even in my brain, I'm like, oh, I wonder when I'm going to get sick next so I can have a break.
Have a break.
And she's like, girl, like, what is wrong with you? Like, you should be calling it before you even get to that point where you are burnt out. You should be going, oh, this is getting a bit dicey, or perhaps even schedule better. And that's what I've done for next year. I've scheduled better, breaks more frequently, and I'm trying to do things better for myself, because working 7 days a week and slugging it and all that, that is not a vibe. Like, there's no hero, like, gold medal coming to you for doing anything like that. It is not a thing. Like, do what you need to do for yourself. And it's funny because one of my last questions for you, which I actually really love, how do you create your holy fuck life? I love that. I love that you put that out there.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're not living from a place of like, holy fuck, is this really my life? Then what are you doing? Like, I got to that point where I was like, I'm sick of just like existing. You know what I mean? And it got to I literally just moved across states. We just bought our dream house. Like, after being sick and all of that, like my whole entire life has shifted and changed. And like, I'm finally living my holy fuck, this is really my life. Like, this is what I've dreamed of, and it's actually happening. And I actually just started a position working with 2 functional medicine doctors in their practice, doing everything we're talking about today with their clients. And they brought me on. And so I still get to do my business, but I also get to work in a clinic with 2 functional medicine doctors that are really on board with the same thing that I'm doing. And so it's exciting to be able to bring all of this together and work with their clients. And so, yeah, it's just exciting.
Oh, that's so good. I'm so happy for you. That's amazing. And that's the thing, when you take chances on yourself and you put yourself out there and you take those little tiny steps towards your dreams and the things you actually want to do, the universe responds and it makes shit happen for you. But you have to do the dance with the universe. You have to be brave and take risks and do things, and then they will deliver. I promise you that. Well, before we go into Jade's questions, which are so fucking random, what is the best way that people can connect with you if they do want to have a reading or they do want to have one of your sessions?
Okay, so on Instagram, Soulshine Holistic Healing. I also have a website, Soulshine Holistic Healing with Kristen, but it's abbreviated. It says HH with Kristen. So I can send you all that. Also, if they're interested, I created a discount code for your podcast listeners for 25% off if they're interested in a reading at 25% off. So I created a discount code. It's TS, so like Talk Spirit, and then to me 25.
Oh, I love that. That's so lovely. Well, yeah, definitely send me the details and I'll put it all in the show notes so that people can connect with you. Oh, awesome. Okay, now's your 3 random questions. Your first one is, how long do you think you'd survive in a zombie apocalypse?
Well, given my background, I think I'd make it pretty long. Like, I'd be like, I've done this kind of shit before.
Seen
No, I'm
worse.
just kidding, right? I fought for my life multiple times. What are you bringing? No.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, honestly, it depends if I'd be crippled with fear or if I like put on my big girl panties. So I guess it kind of depends.
I reckon you'd put on your big girl pants. I reckon you would be in your power. Like, hell, I'd beat cancer. This is nothing. Like, come at me, zombies.
If I was meant to die, I would have a couple times already.
Exactly. It's too good. Okay, your second question. If you could put one condiment inside your belly button, what would it be and why?
Whipped cream. I mean, because it's going to be delicious. My husband would like it. Maybe a cherry on top.
I love that. I was thinking, I'm like, what would you put in there? Like sauce, like tomato sauce or something. I'm like, I don't know if that would be very nice.
Yeah. With some sprinkles. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I'm about the sprinkles. Okay, your last question.
for you.
Yes,
Just like your
pink
pink
sprinkles.
drink.
Too good. Okay, who actually tests the specific dog food when they say that it has a new and improved flavor?
So, some idiot. I don't know, not me.
But it's true.
No.
I was laughing
Right?
so hard when I read that. I was like, that's so true. Like, how do they know it's new and improved? Like, they can't like talk to the dog unless they're a medium and they're asking
Right?
the dog what they think about it. That I would
Mhm.
believe.
Yeah, same. Yeah, no, I agree. There have to be somebody that can connect.
Definitely. They have a psychic in the room telling them
Right?
what the dogs are thinking, for sure. There's no one eating that crap. I don't know. Anyway.
No.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been
Thank
so
you.
lovely to chat to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful and I love your podcast and everything you're doing. And so, yeah,